So we're here in Laikipia, the mid to northern region of Kenya. This is the Twala Cultural Centre, which is a Maasai centre for women in the community, and this is one of 5 groups that we're buying the aloe from. So what's really special about Twala Cultural Centre as well is that it's a refuge centre for women who have been mistreated. So they come here, they're able to live here for 2 years until they're up on their feet, so that children also join them, and then when they're ready to go back out into the community, they're able to do that with confidence.
Before the women were suffering, now they are getting income because they are doing beadwork and also other products that they are growing here. They are getting income and they are getting their money to buy some things and also to take their children to school.
Laikipia Permaculture Centre is an educational hub run by a Maasai permaculturist called Joseph, and he really feels very passionate that the women should be encouraged to learn more about ecological growing, especially in this kind of environment where it's so hard to grow anything.
Where we are standing now is actually the 1 acre aloe secondary flora farm, and they have been growing this for the last 1.5 years now.
The only thing that the women can really grow themselves is aloe secundiflora, which is a new ingredient that we use in Lush. The very fact that they grow aloe means that Lush can now provide them with a source of income. So one of the main reasons why Helen loves working with aloe so much is that it really protects itself. It's very healing on the skin, but it's also really healing in itself that when it's cut, it heals up and protects the moisture inside the leaf. And this is just another example of how the plant heals itself and protects itself. So here you can see we've had a dry season for quite a long time now. And what the leaf does is provides like a shield over here, so you can see the redness of the leaf where the sun's coming in. But if you look inside the aloe plant, it's so green inside, so it's really protected its freshness inside the leaf.
How we harvest it, we just use a knife like this, then we cut it down just on the base of the aloe. So now once it is cut this way, the sap from all inside the leaf is gonna be dripping out like this. So this is the sap that the women use it as an extract for making the lotion, soap, for washing, shampoo. But at the moment, the women are only using the sap. So we are looking at how can we also use the whole leaf after harvesting it.
So through the Sustainable Lush Fund, we started off with phase 1 of funding, which was to fund the fencing of all 5 women's groups to prevent uncontrolled grazing from destroying the leaves. This could be elephants, there's giraffes, there's camels, goats. It's really, really helped to improve the quality of the leaves. Through the SLush Fund, we also feel very passionate about putting funding more into training, as it's a long-term sustainable solution, is to educate people rather than provide aid funding. So we funded a Kenyan beekeeper to come and teach the women about sustainable beekeeping and sustainable harvesting of combs. The women all have their own beehives. They're now producing honey which they sell locally.
So Twala project has got more than 70 beehives at the moment. Some of them being hung, as you see this way, because we have a problem of the honey badger. The honey badger is a pest for bees and honey. We use the wire, so when it comes to struggle to try to overturn it, doesn't fall. So then we can easily hear the sound like this, then we can come and save the bees. The best honey comes from the acacia trees, which we have over 20 species of acacia around here. Because the flowering season of the acacia and the aloe comes at different seasons. So when the acacia flowers, the aloe is not flowering. When the aloe is flowering, the acacia are not flowering, and then the bees can go to the aloe. So it's a holistic approach of running a project like this with the natural resources we have, with the natural insects, with the natural plants and native plants and the native people at the same time.
The honey I go and sell it so that my children can get the food and we also eat the honey.
The second phase of funding was to establish a nursery at Laikipia Permaculture Centre. So we helped establish an aloe nursery. Here we're starting to propagate the seeds to be able to transplant more younger seedlings into the 5 women's groups farms. This is a really endangered species and it only grows in this region of Kenya. It's very much an experimental nursery, so here we've been experimenting with different crops growing in between the aloe to improve the soil conditions and to see which plants work better with improving the growth for the plant.
This is the tree nursery which they started. We are looking at into biodiversity of different crops like moringas, espana, lucina and other species of acacia that grows all here.
And it's really a demonstration site to the women to see what is possible by using permaculture methods. The second group was the Natum group, and these are wonderful women. They sing, they're really happy, they come and bring their children to the field also to take care of, which is really important. This is the Natum women's group and I'm stood here in their aloe field. They grow this aloe here to supply aloe leaves to Lush fresh, but they also use the leaves to produce their own aloe soap, which they sell locally. One of the biggest problems with aloe is a slug problem. So you can see here all the leaves have been eaten away at. So the way that the ladies manage this and the way Joseph has taught them to is through natural pesticides. So this is sodom apple, which is crushed and put into boiling water, and then the women spray it onto the aloe leaves to protect it from slugs. The Natum group also now have a water source to take home for their children and also to irrigate the aloe. So they really had beautiful, healthy aloe. So this is another thing that Lush decided to fund, was to fix their water tank, which had been broken. So last time I was here 6 months ago, the women were actually walking on this piece of concrete over here on the water catchment. They were being lowered inside the tank to fetch water because they so desperately needed water. So what Lush did was provide the funds from the SLush Fund to fix the water tap, and now as you can see the women are being able to use the tap and not being lowered inside the tank anymore, which is absolutely great. I also bought some samples of Lush soap for them to have a better idea of what natural soap looks like and some of the lovely ingredients, natural ingredients that we use. And they loved the smell of the honey I washed the kids, to really give them an idea of what could be possible here. So the other group that we visited was Nabulu group, which in Ma language means to grow. And these are really strong women. And I think they're the most established of all 5 groups. Through the SLush Fund, we helped the Nabulu group with the fencing of their aloe field to prevent the elephants from trampling all over the aloe leaves. So the women have planted a moringa seedling in between all the aloe plants. So this was planted here back in January, and the idea is that the moringa will provide nitrogen for the soil, which will improve conditions for the aloe, but it will also protect it from direct sunlight by providing shade. So it's an understory. the oil from the seeds can also produce oil for the women to use in their soap. So I think there's a total of 40 women involved in this group. They make their own cosmetics to sell in the local market. So I bought some moulds over from the SLush factory where we have our own pressing machine. In the next week we're going to discuss how we can design our own logo for Nabulu, and we can take that back and mould it in the SLush factory. These are some of the products that the Nabulu women are making, and just within 6 months these are really improved. So the packaging is much more attractive now. They've got the Maasai beads, and they've got beautiful labelling as well with the picture of the Nabulu group here. So what we've been really discussing today is how we can save on some of the expenses that help to make these products. So one being packaging, and two being the ingredients that are going into them. Some of the ingredients they have to travel all the way to Nairobi to buy. So we can use some of the local materials here that are growing, so some of the herbs that we can use for essential oil, and also some of the herbs and plants that we can press to produce vegetable oils. So that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow in our soap making workshop. So really the vision for the future for these 5 women groups is to be able to open an enterprise so that these women can grow and produce their own natural cosmetics, and to network more to other women in the community on what's possible, how they can generate some income in this really harsh conditions. What would be absolutely fantastic would to get the men involved as well with the women, so that we can really challenge the whole idea of gender inequality.